Hello, listeners. This is Lee Price.
This is Will Ford from Football 365.
And you're listening smartly to At the Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast, although I would describe it as the Chelsea FC podcast.
Magical from Eden Hazard. Kai Havertz in the Champions League final. Ivanovic! In the middle, it's just behind him. But it's tapped in by Hakim Ziyech. Matic with the ball driver. Matic takes the net off. Hat-trick hero. Cole Palmer wins an epic, sensational game.
It's time for another episode of At the Bridge Pod, your number one Chelsea FC podcast. Coming up on this episode,
time for a fun fact. Lille became the third team in the Champions League to beat both Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid in a single edition of the competition since Chelsea in 2020-21 and Man City in 21-22. Oh, welcome back everyone to another episode of At the Bridge Pod. I'm joined in a virtual room filled with Lion. Just Lion. No, not Lions. Just it's a good one. All of them are good. We got Ollie. Ollie's a good Lion, and it's the Friday show on a Friday. Oh, it's a beauty. It's a Thursday show on a Friday, or the Friday show on a Thursday on a Friday. Anyway, what are you looking forward to this weekend? Please have something, please. You're the only one here.
Yeah, I know, but it's a lot of pressure. Do you know what? I was going to go on a nice mental health walk this weekend, and I would implore anyone else who maybe you're feeling a little down in the dumps, maybe you're not feeling so great, they're getting on top of you. Just go for a walk for 20 minutes. It helps. It's really annoying, but it does help.
I went on a walk on the treadmill at the gym today, but then I went on a walk to Asda because they had 2 for £5 on tubs of sweets for Christmas celebrations on College Street.
Places, man.
But my feet got really wet because it was raining and I was in trainers and they're currently sat on the radiator. No one gives a shit about what I'm on about. So I'm going to tell you one thing. No one gives a shit about this next thing. It's Sunday. I'm going to be sat on my sofa because I've not got work next week.
NFL?
So that means Sunday, early kickoff. But also the late games, because obviously I'm not in next week. And it gets even better because over here in the UK, the clocks fall back an hour. So the games kick off at 5 and 8 p.m. Oh, Mike, a blanket and a nice pile of snacks for me. Oh, yes. But of course, I wouldn't be doing my job right if I didn't hit you with some must-watch football. So here's what you need to clear your weekend for, listener. Saturday, it's El Clasico, Real Madrid, Barcelona. Bring the popcorn. But Sunday evening, this could be a bit of a fun one. So Sunday evening, you've got Inter Milan versus Juventus. And right after that, you've got Fiorentina and Roma in what I'm going to call the Mo Salah derby. But if some people are going to go, look, I don't care about Serie A. And that's fine. That's fine. Don't stress. I've got you covered.
Chris will be fuming, though. He loves Serie A.
He does. But I've got you covered. Sunday lunchtime brings us the Edinburgh derby, Hibernian versus Hearts.
I love a Hearts versus Hibs game.
And then if you think you're done, boom, Sunday night closes with Marseille and PSG. There's your weekend. If you've got families, tell them not this week.
Yeah, it's a weekend of good football for sure. There's some really nice, good big clashes there. That one in the Scottish League is always. I
know. As soon as I saw that, I was like, "Oh, I like these. Yeah. Right. Always. Before we dive into the news, we do have a Shevva shout out. We have two because 2 landed into our mail via Spotify. It's a cheeky way of doing it. I mean, that's not Apple. It's not the Apple podcast review, but I'll allow it. So, James McManus, I love this show so much. It's my favourite one I've ever listened to. Wish I found this earlier. Keep up the good work, boys. I would love a shout out. Well, you got one. One.
Thank you very much. I mean, flattery is the way you get on this show. So,
yeah, but that is true. I wonder if he meant that this episode, because obviously it was on an episode particular. If it was, that's awesome. If it wasn't,
I think he just means the show as in general. Maybe I'm blowing our trumpet a little too much, but yeah, thank you very much.
And second, Daniel has said, okay, so this will be my first comment on your pod since I became an ardent listener in mid-2023. Hello, guys. I'm Daniel and listening from Nigeria. Just wanted to say hi and let you guys know that I'm a huge fan. I almost don't go a week without listening to you guys. You guys are doing a great job. It's still so cool when we hear people listening to it, like just outside the UK alone. It's like, wow.
It's crazy. On our little Spotify Wrapped thing that we get for our podcast every year, we were listening to last year. I think it's over 70
I
countries.
know.
Something like
And
that. It's absolutely
yeah.
crackers. And yeah, a hello to everyone
Yeah.
in Africa and in Nigeria who's listening to us. We welcome you from wherever you are in the world,
I
as long as
love
you
it.
give us a listen. So
I
thank you
love
very
it
much.
so much because it confirms that the people that do the they've chipped at us and gone, most of those are probably off VPNs. Clearly not. Clearly not. So that is what I love it. I love it. So shout out to those two, and they're probably listening now. So hey, right, we're gonna hit some news. Quiet week, but we're going to take a short trip in that elevator of Chelsea news to see what you may have missed. Ben Chilwell was offered to Borussia Dortmund in the summer, but they ultimately decided against signing him. Josh Acheampong has been told he will not play for the club's first team or development squad until he signs a new deal. Chelsea striker Nicholas Jackson has been voted the best Senegalese player playing abroad for 2023-24. And you know what? I was going to do a finally and choose a Pep Guardiola quote, but I'm not, because I've just remembered something that I've now got to Google. Because I've completely forgot what it was, but it's bloody hilarious. So it is. I want to find the statement because let me find it. I should have prepared myself here.
Shall we talk about something else in the?
No, I found it. So you guys, you listeners, you may know of Nottingham Forest owner Marinakis. Yes, that Greek billionaire. He was given a 5-match ban, wasn't he, for spitting? Apparently, he spat towards match officials in a flagrant display of disrespectful behaviour, but he denied the charge, and there was a statement. Oh my gosh, it's great. The FA confirmed this week that the independent commission was satisfied that Marinakis deliberately spat on the floor as the referee walked past him in a disrespectful and disgusting display of contempt. But he has argued that he was merely disclosing of phlegm caused by his cigar habit and the incident was unintentional. The statement says, as the officials approached, this is what his witness statement read from his lawyers. As the officials approached, he felt a cough coming and he coughed on the floor, down and to his right, which was away from the path the officials were taking. He did not speak to the officials. He cannot now remember if any spittle left his mouth, but if it did, and he does not challenge that some might well have done, it certainly was not aimed at the referee's feet and did not hit anybody. He fails to see how coughing, where spit or phlegm can come out from any person, towards the floor in a relatively crowded tunnel is misconduct.
Better call Saul on that one, fella.
The commission rejected the defence and said it was completely impossible.
Oh dear, oh dear. Just firm it. Just firm it. If you spat at him, just firm it. Honestly, like
it's the best lie ever.
It's ridiculous. That's up there with Wayne Hennessy not knowing what World War II is.
Oh no! Oh yeah, I still don't buy that. I do not buy. I don't buy
Obviously,
it.
we don't buy it. It's bollocks. That's why we don't buy it.
It's just when you read it and you're like, you cannot be fucking. The fact that the FA bought that story as well. I mean, hey, I don't work there. It's relevant. I can't pass judgment on any sanctions that have been handed down or not because I don't work for the FA. One thing I can pass a judgment on is the Josh Acheampong story.
I'm glad you were going to bring that up because I did want to talk about this.
Oh, I don't know if we'll agree because I'm not against the stance that the club's taken for a reason. I mean, I think we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I could sort of see the argument, why should we give minutes to a player who cannot decide if he wants to be here long term ahead of other players who want to be? I think that might be the argument.
I can see that argument, and I have a lot of respect for that argument because at the end of the day, a lot of people are saying, we only want players who want to be here. If you got questions about your future, you're not sure, someone's turned your head, then bye bye. We want players who commit to be here. The only thing I will say about that, and it leaves a bit of a sour taste, doesn't it? Because it's. He's only signed his first pro deal 6 months ago, something like that. So it's like it's not even like signed. It's not even like he's signed the deal very very long ago. But obviously with I can't remember if it's players under a certain age or it's like
under 18. I think
under 18 you can't sign a great big long deal. But like I said, I don't have any issues necessarily with the principle of it, but the reality of the consequences of doing something like this is there are players out there who are going to need to feel loved and they're going to need an arm around them a little bit. And if instead you're going to freeze them out, you're going to lose some really talented players. Now, that's, like, if you're willing to lose out on those players, that's fine, but that's the cost of this strategy. And I don't know. I just can't help but thinking like this is a blanket term for like everyone. Just, I don't know. It doesn't feel quite right. Like, players are people at the end of the day. Some of them are going to need a motivator. Like, some of them need to boot up the arse. Some of them need an arm around the shoulder. So, and I feel like you should adjust it accordingly. But I was originally quite against it, but I can see why people have come with that.
There's been talk that they were going to agree a deal, and then it changed. Again, we don't know. This could, one way or the other, it could be PR for the club. Yeah, we don't know. We will never know.
We've heard that before, haven't we? Like, there's no way really of knowing.
You'll never know.
Yeah,
you'll never. I mean, I know you attract more bees with honey, but I kind of look at it as if the bee hasn't decided if it will sting you or not, you should be wary handing out the honey.
Yeah, but I don't know. For me, at the same time, like, think about how much honey it can give you in return if you just give it.
It'd be a lot of honey.
So, I don't know. I can see both sides. It's a difficult one.
Yeah, it depends, because our other honey that plays in the same position has a broken jar and it keeps leaking honey. That's Reece James leaks honey because he gets injured often, and that's the problem. So, and Malo Gusto's not being used properly, as his honey is being used in a completely separate dish now. And we're like, what are we doing? Use it properly. It's kind of
anyone who's we've lost everyone.
They've zoned out. They've zoned out. One thing that they won't. If I want you to zone back in, because I need to take. I was going to say, I wrote this as I need to take everyone back to last Friday's show, but that's kind of not the case. But we'll go back. Our mailbag episode, because Chris, well, he's not here today, which is really frustrating because I'm going to have to bring it up on Monday's show, aren't I? But Chris said this.
I think no one replaces Enzo.
Wow.
Do you think that's a politics thing? Like an upstairs thing, though?
Yeah. I don't know whether you guys have picked up on it as well, but the official Chelsea socials are littered with Enzo Fernandez.
Great.
Honestly, you look at pre-match graphics, post-match graphics, it's all Enzo. He is the poster boy, and the board are really pushing that because he was a massive investment.
Now, an eagle-eyed listener, Brent, he tweeted us earlier this week, and I said I would put it in the show. He said, I think Chris said this last week, but yet another example of the Chelsea admin profiling Enzo. And the link was to two photos posted by the admin of the club heading to Greece. Enzo was in both of them. I couldn't resist but to bring it up because I was like, oh no.
Yeah, it's people give Chris on this show sometimes. People give him a lot of flack, but more often than not, he's right about
it was
stuff.
right there, and then they quickly pushed out Mudryk. So I was like, "Oh, Mudryk!" Yeah. But it was like a lot of evidence. I just thought it was funny to bring it up because no, someone did ask, "Is he on the?" No, he's not on the losers list. I can't put him on the losers list when he weren't a loser in that game. Anyway, talking of the game, match report time, because Chelsea took on, of course, Panathinaikos in the Conference League. Dewsbury Hall to Pedro Neto. Pedro Neto on the run, crosses the ball in for Mudryk. 2-0, 2-0, an assist and a goal tonight for Mykhailo Mudryk as he points towards Enzo Maresca on the sideline. Chelsea in full control. Oh, Panathinaikos 1, Chelsea 4, winners and losers, and we always have winners. We always kick off with the winners. How many have you got?
So I originally had 3 and 3, but then at some point today we learned it was going to be full of lion today instead of lion. So I've got 4 and 4.
Wow!
Just to make sure that we do like give the listeners a little bit of love. Make sure the show's not too short.
I have 3 and 2. I actually struggled for losers that I was tempted to put Enzo on it just to piss people off. I really was struggling. I was there going,
you know what? You should have done it and actually done a full-on rant. And then at the end gone, nah, man.
To be honest, I'll give he's not on my list, but I'll give credit to Enzo because it was earlier in the game. I think we were 1-0 up. The ball was crossed in and he read the cross perfectly and cleared it. And it was so stupid of me, but I looked at him, and because I was looking from a distance, because I wasn't looking properly at the screen at the time, I was like, oh, Thiago Silva. Oh no, he's not our captain anymore. was like, as a proper tier. But he read it so well, like Silver did, and he cleared it. And I was like, cool. I can't tell you what else he did because I can't remember much, but that's not the point. Right. Who's your first winner? Probably
well, we've got to talk about him, haven't we? Because he had an absolutely phenomenal game. It's Mykhailo Mudryk. You are coping and seething, Mikey, aren't you?
You know what? I will do it. I will do it right now because I cannot believe this. Last night when we played, I received a phone call from the manager of the Stat Drop Club. And he told me that security had let in Mykhailo Mudryk. 100%,
oh my God.
100% pass accuracy, 4 touches in the opposition box, 4 duels won, 3 chances created, 2 shots, 2 fouls won, 2 assists, 1 beautiful goal.
Oh, it's too funky.
This guy is to me what Enzo seems to be to Chris. But last night he balled out. What a performance! You deserve to be in that club. Enjoy it. You were
in the VIP section. In the, gets himself.
Let's calm down.
3 goal involvements as well.
It was mad.
Also, I want to let people know, a little bit of inside baseball here. When we don't know when Mikey's going to drop the stats club music. Every single time he does, I dance in my chair.
I had to pick him. Wow.
Just letting you guys know that I'm raving here when that goes on. He had an absolutely brilliant game. I thought. Not just in terms of his goal involvements. Actually, I thought because he was doing. He did well in that regard, wasn't it? He got was it 2 assists and a goal, 2 goals and assists? Can't remember which way around it was now, but yeah, they did really, really well. I think it was 2 assists and a goal, wasn't it? Because he got the header later.
2 assists and a goal, yeah.
But do you know what I really liked about his game is actually like his positioning. For a lot of the game, he was really high and wide, which is really what you want from your wingers. Too often in the past, we've seen him drift inside, and we get it. He's trying to magnetize his way towards the goal, but at the same time, positionally, it's so important for him to be out on that side because he's able to beat the fullback. He's got a really good cross on him, and we saw, especially with we'll talk about João Felix, I'm sure, but with the goal for him as well. Those two have been linking up really, really well. Just fully deserves his flowers, doesn't he?
I've knocked the Conference League before and saying, oh, it's this and that. However, it might be the best thing for Mykhailo Mudryk because it's I kind of, when you watch him, it does seem like it's a confidence thing, and he's going to absolutely have a boost from that, and it could be a really good place for him to just improve and get back to his best. Obviously you could question the quality of the teams. I don't think that's the point. I think some players are genuinely confidence players, and he might just be one. And if he could, let's just say he puts in a shift every conference game, gets goals, assists, suddenly he might think, I am actually that player still. Damn right I am. And then he plays it against Premier League opposition. I mean, that's a win.
Do you think it's too early to give him a start in the Premier League?
Oh, I mean, who'd you drop? I saw someone say drop Sancho. Maybe? No, you can't do that. He's been too consistent. He's been too good for us.
I don't know.
I couldn't. No.
I don't think the gulf between those two is quite as big as many might think at this juncture. But then again, like you say, it's the Conference League is different. Like Sancho is, maybe if he's not being super effective in the Premier League, there's no guarantee that Mudryk would be.
I mean, he's had a great week because only Vinicius Junior and Rafinha have most goals and assists by players in European competition.
Wow.
Couldn't resist.
Fair enough. Yeah. You're in good company there, Misha.
So I will bring in my second winner. João Felix. Had to be.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm coping and seething. No,
he could have had a hat trick. I mean, he probably should have. Yeah. He probably should have. He was all, for me, he's kind of like a luxury signing as a player. He reminds me. He reminds me of a Lindor truffle at Christmas. They are expensive. They're tasty. Do you need them? Probably not. But they are bloody lovely, and they are great to have. He's great to have. He flicks the ball. He does little tricks. I love to watch him. It's just like the nutmeg when he did that great nutmeg in the Premier League, I think it was, and I was like, wow. And then one of you went, yeah, but he gave the ball away. I was like, I don't care. I was so impressed. That's the thing. He's lovely to watch, but he actually had a really good game, and him and Mudryk were really on the same pathway.
Yeah, they were on the same wavelength, weren't they? Especially João's first goal, where he sort of does the header behind him to see like when Mudryk's running on because he knows he's going to be there. and then he's there to receive the finish as well. Do you know what João Felix did? And I've spoken about this before. What he needed to do and what he really did do against Panathinaikos, he did the simple stuff well. Too often Felix really tries to overcomplicate things, little flicks and tricks and, dribbling himself into a cul-de-sac and all of that stuff. But what I really thought he did, like, for example, a lot of the time when he was getting the ball, like, he wasn't really dribbling too much. He wasn't trying to, like, do anything too fancy, like ping the ball around. He was just shifting the ball, doing his thing, getting into good positions. And he got himself 2 goals for his trouble. More of that, please, João Felix. More of that, please.
Yeah, it doesn't matter why we signed him. You could go, it's Gallagher. It don't matter. We have him as a player. We back him as a player. And again, he's doing well. He's doing well when we played him in the Conference League. So he's not going to get a start out of it this weekend against Newcastle, but he might start in the League Cup against Newcastle, back to back Newcastle. Yeah, it's possible.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Who's what? Did you have João Felix as a winner?
I did. Yeah, he was my second winner.
Okay. Who's your third winner?
My third winner, Mikey, you're going to have to get the horn out.
Oh, my word. You are not going to, are you?
There we go. Yeah, my third winner is Philippe Jorgensen. For one reason and one reason alone. Really early on in the game, like literally in the first minute or two of the game, Panathinaikos had a chance to had a header that the ball was crossed into the far post. The ball gets headed down like back across goal. It's a really, those types of headers that are quite hard to save for a goalkeeper. And Philippe Jorgensen made a really good stop. Goalkeepers sometimes switch off early in games because they don't think they're going to concede a chance really quickly. So it was nice to see him, like, on his toes for that. But the important thing for me was what that actually represented in the game. Now, we went on in the end to coast that game, against Panathinaikos. But if that goal goes in, it's a different game completely. In the first minute, suddenly Panathinaikos, the crowd are up for it.
Yeah.
Like everyone they all get behind the ball, and we're suddenly facing a low block again. And what happens when we face those? So so it really could have gone differently if not for his save. And it was a moment where I like to assess players' sort of impacts on games more than anything. And when you think about it, for everything else which he sort of did or didn't do in the game, which is kind of inconsequential as a result because of the goals we scored, that was so important early on in the game, and it might have actually guaranteed, it gave us a chance in the game to go then and coast on. So yeah, he has to get that, even though it was only one moment. It was a really important one.
But it was, I've got it he is actually in my third winner spot, but I'll expand on what you've said. For me, it was the save, like you said, that it was within the first 2 minutes of the game. That's such a dramatic moment, and it's a top class save. And the thing is, he keeps the score at 0-0. As you said, if that goes in, suddenly does our confidence take a knock? Panathinaikos in Greece, in that stadium, which that atmosphere was incredible, as we all expected it would be. You can get nervous. It could have been
a real banana skin, that game. Yeah. If like something goes wrong like that early in the game, it could have been real banana skin, and we managed to coast. And that's credit where credit's due for the whole team. But Jorgensen is the reason that we were able to gather ourselves that quickly and then go again and get the goals we needed to get. So yeah, really important from him. Really nice to see that as well, because feel like that's the first time he's kind of been called upon in a moment where, like, we weren't already like winning the game, and like he needed to be switched on and actually made a really big impact on the result of a match. So it's really nice to see that from him.
Yeah, 100%. And look, the reason that, what have I got for my third winner? Well, my third winner is the B squad, because is that B for brilliant? Because they were brilliant. I mean, we had Felix and Mudryk impressing. Badiashile was bloody solid. Desasi was decent.
He had a very good game.
And of course, sounding the horn, Jorgensen, top class save. Even Dewsbury Hall had a good game. They were all good.
Yeah. You will see in our losers. So it was hard to find losers. While I did find 4, you'll see where I went with it. But yeah, it's I think I really like this B squad. I must say, like, for the Conference League, it's nice to see some of these more fringe players and getting to see what they can actually do. Now, obviously in the Premier League, we need our stronger players. Your Palmers and your Caicedos and your Jacksons and your Robert Sanchez's. But in in the B squad, it's really nice to have some of these sort of more fringe players and giving them a shot and seeing what they can do, because it turns out if you put a little faith in them and push them out there, they can do great things. Now, don't get me wrong, it's the Conference League. I'm going to channel my inner Chris here. I'm not going to get too carried away. We should be beating Panathinaikos at the end of the day, but at the end, you can't really ask for more. We coasted through the game.
Yeah. Did you have a fourth winner that we haven't already said?
Yeah, I have one last winner, and it's Mark Kukurea. I was struggling actually because I wasn't sure whether to put him or Badia Shieling, because I thought Badia Shiel had a really good game, but Kukurea I thought would just as well had a really, really solid game. Was inverting into midfield in his sort of favoured position where he seems to perform so well. He seems like such a natural midfielder to me. Like really sort of tough tackling midfielder. It's nice to see it. He was just absolutely everywhere. I think we've said it a few times on this podcast before, but when Kukurea is like the difference between Kukurea and a lot of other players that you see, and in that B squad actually it's even more clear at times, is he's the one always doing the running, always. Like he always sets the tone. I was really worried after Gallagher left that we weren't going to have a player who's going to set the tone physically in terms of like when to press, how much work ethic you need to be doing, and all that stuff. But Kukurea has molded into that role really nicely. He's a model professional. He never stops running for the team. He's always tackling, always getting his foot stuck in, breaking up the play, making nice passes. It's hard, at the moment he's undroppable for me. Absolutely undroppable.
Wow. You know what? I've got to. If I don't throw this name into the honourable mentions, I'd be told off. Tyreek George had a lively cameo. He came on. He was lively. He nearly set up João Felix for a hat trick, which didn't go the way. But he was pretty. Even Maresca, he deserves a shout out. He rotated the team effectively. Gave some valuable minutes to some top players. And
Disasi too. Disasi had a good game as well.
Yeah, they were really, really good. So of course there are losers. I found two, and I'll give a quick. You've got four, which is
I've got four, but only two of them are players.
So my first loser is our defending for the goal we scored, and I think I can sum it up about my feelings towards our back line for that with this little clip.
Congratulations for being shit. Well done for being shit, and well done for being shit.
Yeah, I just was. We nearly kept a clean sheet. We just don't do. We're like a dodgy hotel. We can't keep clean sheets. It bugs me so much because one of the players we've praised fell asleep. Badia Shiel. He didn't track his man, and it was like, oh, right. Like it's the look. Yes, I know we won 4-1. That's the important thing. But we could have had a clean sheet. And
it would have been nice to have the clean sheet. In fact, that was actually one of my losers was clean sheets. Because that's a couple of times in the Conference League now where, like we've won by a big margin, and it would have been really nice to see the game out, have a total shutout, and we just couldn't quite manage it. And it goes to show that some teams are going to hurt us this season with stuff like that. On a day where our finishing isn't quite as good, like a team can get at us. They get a goal where someone switches off, like Badia Shiel. Like, don't get me wrong, like, he did have a good game other than that moment, but that moment was just he just fell asleep, like you said. But like we just need to tighten it up a little bit more at the back, because if we're conceding goals against likes of Panathinaikos and Shevva and these other clubs, and no disrespect to them, but obviously we're in the Conference League, we are a better team than most of the teams in there.
Yeah.
Like it's just in a knockout game it could be something to watch. It could be a banana skin.
That's the thing, and it's our back four is back line. I guess it's the back three because that's what we play. We haven't. I don't know if we have a combo. I mean, Vega, he had an all right game, apart from when he nearly scored an absolute classic own goal. I watched that and I was already going, oh no! I thought it was him. I was convinced.
I had replayed the clip already on Twitter, like that with like all the hate for it would come out like in my head, and I was just like, oh no, please no.
It was one of them. It was one of them. It didn't go in. That's what matters. Right? Who's your first loser other than clean sheets?
First loser for me is Christopher Nkunku. This might, well, okay.
He scored a goal. Oh no, it was a penalty.
Yeah, it might sound a little bit harsh because he did score a goal, but other than the penalty, he really didn't do anything. And I know we sometimes give Palmer praise for doing the same thing, but in the Conference League, I feel like it's a bit different. And we know a player of Nkunku's caliber should be doing a little bit more. I don't know if it also was like maybe a tactical thing, because I was looking at like the average positions for the game, and Nkunku was just like nowhere to be seen. It was really odd. Like our average positions looked like a H. Like it was really strange. Yeah, so we really didn't have that kind of focal point striker, and that's all right because Nkunku isn't that. But I don't know. I would have liked to have seen him involved a little bit more. He just didn't really get much out of the game, and in the Conference League with a player his quality, you think he's got to shine a little bit more. Yes, he was shown up by Mudryk and João Felix, for God's sake. Players who get derided by a lot of the fan base, and if that's happening, then he needs to have a look at himself a little bit.
It is a little bit of a worry because
is it an overreaction? Do you think? I
don't know, because we're expecting him to step up because you want him to be starting in the Premier League, but he
don't get me wrong. I think he's joint top scorer at the club at the moment. Or like one, or if not, he might be second. But yeah, I don't know. A lot of people are saying, we can't afford to lose Nkunku, and to a large extent, I agree. But I actually think it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world either.
I mean, I'm looking at his heat map. He wasn't in the box much. He was more on that in the right hand channel, and he didn't really get forward enough on that. Not from what I'm seeing.
Just didn't really make it happen, like that. If you're going to be the focal point, the finisher for the team, you need to be in and around the box. You need to be like making good movements. You need to be receiving the ball well, having players bounce off you with wall passes, all this sort of stuff. And he just wasn't doing it. Listen, at the end of the day, he's like a French international, like wins every trophy under the sun, has won every trophy under the sun in his career and stuff. But so maybe he's just not that bothered about the Conference League, and I get that. But he needs to show his quality.
I loved the fact as well. I saw some people go, "Why didn't João Felix take the penalty? Not designated taker." I loved that. I loved the fact that Nkunku took it because he takes penalties. We've moved on. We've moved on from that nonsense of last season.
Yeah, nobody's fighting for it.
No, I loved it. And you know what? I will go with my final loser so you can have a free run with yours. I have the losers and their laser pointers because hang on, listener. Listener, I thought we'd stumbled into a rave, maybe the Stat Drop Club, because all we needed was Scooter's Logical song to drop and we'd been set. Because I last checked that this was a football match, not a bloody nightclub. Oh my word!
Avicii was going to play for us for a minute.
Jorgensen had lasers in his face. Nkunku had lasers in his face. And some of you may go, "Oh, it's a distraction tactic." You do realise that those laser pens, depending on their strength, can blind you.
Yeah.
Lasers
are no joke, ladies and gents. I don't know. I don't think anyone who listens to the show does do that shit. But if you do that shit, knock it off. It's not cool.
I mean, you know how it can potentially. Not when I say blind, it impairs their eyesight on planes in the sky.
Yeah,
on plane, they're 10,000 plus feet in the sky. Nkunku was not 10,000 feet away. And it reminds me of was it the AFCON final when it was penalties and it was Senegal Egypt? Yeah, and Salah and Mane, and it's just like, this is just insane. I don't know how you police that because everyone would have to be strip searched. There's no other way, I don't think.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Laser pointers, isn't it? They're so small and it's hard. It's hard to do it, but they've got to find a way to do it somehow because it's not on. It needs to
irritating. Right, who's your second loser?
No, because my second one was clean sheets. Yes. First one was Nkunku. So third one of four, Pedro Neto. Yeah, just wasn't that impressed, if I'm honest. Had a poor game, lost the ball a lot when he was on the right-hand side, out there on the right. I don't know. I think he's better off the left, personally, for me. But he, just wasn't that impressed overall. Like he's one of these players who he kind of flits between the Premier League squad and the B squad, and I wanted to see more from him. I think that's kind of largely true of the whole time he's actually been here at Chelsea. Is I just want to see a little bit more from him. We know how good a player he can be because of his time at Wolves. He was really running the show over there. Now he's playing one game a week. He's talked about how he needs to step up, and it's all well and good to say those things in the interviews and all is how important it is to to have the quality and be able to be consistent for the team and work hard for the team, and I get that. But if you're not proving it on the pitch, it's empty words.
Yeah, it's a bit like a politician trying to campaign to get votes, and then they get voted into power and they do nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, he's done a little bit more than nothing. Like, I'll give him a little bit of credit, but I mean, he did. I suppose he did do the cross for Mudryk's goal, and that was good. And I'll give him that. But for me, one good cross isn't enough to escape the losers list for me. But
no,
yeah, maybe people disagree. Let me know if that's an overreaction. Let us know if I'm dead wrong on that. If I'm being too harsh, but
I think you've made a fair point. You've made a fair point on it.
Just want to see more. That's all.
Yeah.
And my final loser was Panathinaikos.
They lost. They did lose
because it was their yeah, correct. It was their big day out, wasn't it? And they just really didn't turn up, did they? They had a couple flurries, at various points in the game, like that early chance for Jorgensen saved, and of course they got their goal as well later in the game, but the game was dead and buried by that stage. Just maybe it sounds a bit harsh because obviously we are a much better team than them, but they were not good. Like we did pass through them really easily. The patterns of play, we were just playing in triangles around them. We were baiting the press every single time and just easily passing around them. They just weren't that great. Again, maybe that's a little bit harsh. Of course, I don't know how much the stuff with George Baldock and stuff was affecting them before the game. It's important to look at that, and of course, condolences to him and his family. But yeah, just in terms of like a quality perspective from the actual team themselves, they just didn't look that up for it. I think the first and second goals went in, their heads kind of dropped, and then of course they give the penalty away, and yeah, so maybe they were just decided they were going to take the lumps and save their energy and not get injured for the next game, which they've got a better chance to win. But I don't know. For me, they weren't great.
Yeah. Oh, you've made a fair. Yeah, it's a fair point. Emoji game review, which I forget every bloody game.
Do you know what? Because I wasn't on the show after the Liverpool game. The less said about the Liverpool game, the better. But I noticed you didn't do the emoji game review. I was
Did we not?
No, I don't think we did.
Dear.
And, I think we dropped it. Or maybe we did. I can't remember. But we dropped it out of pre-season as well, and that quite rightly because who's reviewing a pre-season game except us?
We don't do that.
But yeah, I don't know. Well, what you got for your emoji?
I don't. I'm just looking through them now.
I've got one. If you wanna hear it, I've got the bullseye emoji. Because we had 4 big chances and we scored 4 goals. Yes. It's hard to argue with that. We were clinical. And it kind of dovetails a little bit into what I was saying earlier. On a different day when we're not clinical with the clean sheets thing, we might struggle, but. Yeah, it was just nice to see us dispatch our chances well.
Oh gosh. I'm just going through them now. Struggling.
Pressure's on now.
Yeah, the pressure is struggling. Oh, you know what? I will go with the wink emoji because are we back? Is Mudryk back? Oh, we might be. Right.
It's a cheeky question to ask, isn't it?
Oh my word. Right, of course. So we move to Lion of the Week, which means I have to bring up the good old Google Doc because I need to see who we picked. I know who I picked, I think.
I wasn't on the show. I didn't send mine in, I don't think so.
Right, come on, let's get it. Right, Berth had Dewsbury Hall. Chris had Vega. I had Pedro Neto. And the wheel went with Nkunku. So it's Nkunku or Dewsbury Hall here.
It's Dewsbury Hall. He out of those 4, he had the best game.
He did. Wow, Dewsbury Hall makes the list.
If I do say so myself, that is a shocking selection from all of you. And the fact I wasn't there says it all.
Well, Berth gets a win and Dewsbury Hall gets a Live of the Week. Wow.
Good for him, yeah.
Bloody hell. Good for you.
I'm lucky on Mudryk. Nobody picked him.
No.
Because he really deserved it.
So this weekend we take on Newcastle, and I don't know if we're at home or away. I haven't.
Is that the league game or the cup game?
That's at home. We're at home in the league, and then on Wednesday we go to Newcastle.
Nice. So, all right, so we're at home. We're going to be playing the obviously the A team. We'll probably see the B team in midweek. Who's BA Baracus? I don't know. Probably Vega. I don't know. I don't know who to choose for this.
Neither do I. I was going to be lazy and go Jackson, but I thought that's just too easy.
I'm going to give it to Cole Palmer. I think.
All right, Wheel. Okay, Wheel went Nicholas Jackson.
All right, yeah, you've got a good chance, listeners, this week.
You out. Well, I said it before the Wheel, so I'm sticking with that. I said Nicholas Jackson.
You're going to go with Jackson as well. I'm going to go with Cole Palmer on this one. I think he didn't have the best game against Liverpool, and you guys touched on that on the show as well. But I think he'll bounce back and he'll be fine this week. He'll probably score a brace, knowing him.
Yeah, maybe. Right. Quaresma's questions, and of course, I'm never ready for it. And so I get my phone out and everyone's like, oh, come on, hurry up. So let's have a look. First question. Oh, Sweeter Minhas has said, what do you guys think Chelsea's biggest need is at the transfer window? Don't you dare say keeper, though I could see the point.
It's goalkeeper. It is. I don't know. If I wasn't going to say goalkeeper, just because I just can't get behind Robert Sanchez anymore. Like his game against Liverpool was god awful. You guys spoke about it actually, didn't you? Like
he hit that small iceberg.
Oh, he just yeah, he did.
He did.
He just how are you 6'6" and your wingspan's that wide and you made yourself as small as possible for that second goal? I don't understand it.
But who do we sign? Like Marmadashvili's off the books now. He's off.
Yeah, Diogo Costa's not a fabulous keeper either.
He's fine.
I think it would take a lot of money. In reality, I think you have to price someone away from elsewhere that's already good. And just do what you can from that. I don't know. Maybe there's I can't remember. There's some keeper in the Italian league who's doing all right at the moment. Who's kind of unheard of. And then there's that
Atalanta's.
Yeah, it might be Atalanta's, and then there's Bolker in the in League One
marching
as well. Former Cobham, you never know, but I'm not sure about that either because I don't know how well he fits with Maresca's sort of passing style of play. So I don't know, maybe that's a non-starter. If I wasn't going to pick that, I'm actually going to say striker. Not in terms of the way that you might think. I actually I back Nicholas Jackson to the day I die. I just want a different profile there. I want a tall striker who can head the ball because at the moment no one in our team can really properly head the ball, and we need to have that aerial threat because so often we're seeing that we're getting really good chances for headers late in games. Often you get a cross into the box. The Liverpool game we had a couple chances, the Forest game we had a couple headers from Nkunku and Felix and stuff, and of course they're not natural headers of the ball. If you had someone like I'm not saying him specifically, but if you had someone with the aerial ability of like a Chris Wood or a Giroud or someone of that nature, you probably do get a handful of more goals a season. You pick up a handful more points. It can be a really important string to a team's bow. And at the moment, we just don't have that. So I guess I would go with that.
If you're on about the Atalanta goalkeeper, it's Marco. And please don't let me down here, voice.
Carnesecchi.
Him. So he's pretty good.
Carnesecchi. Okay.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Oh, Nick Pope's in. Nick Pope's. No, we don't.
He's shit. No, he's big stiff idiot.
Jordan Pickford, just for banter. No, I'm not going to do that. Right. Oh, just seeing one of the. I'll have to say it after.
Wait, Mikey. Who are you gonna? Who would you have as a choice? Like,
honestly, I don't know if he's a very good goalkeeper with his feet much. I don't see much of him, but I love Jan Sommer.
But your position of need, though.
Oh, position of need. Oh, see, we don't have a world class goalkeeper. That is fact. I can't say Jorgensen's world class. He could be one day. I do look at our left hand side because if we're not inverting Cucurella and we need cover.
Oh, you're thinking more of a left sided defender.
Yeah, I'd rather have another world class centre back.
Yeah, it's hard to argue
with a leadership ability because we miss it. We've got a young team. We need it. We really do.
Yeah. The left wing as well. I think that spot's still open at the moment. You've got Neto, Mudryk, Sancho. None of them have made it.
Is it though? We've got Esteval and Kendrick Paez coming.
It's a good point. Esteval plays on the right a little bit, doesn't he? Paez plays through the middle. Maybe Bomber out there. I don't know.
I can't say midfield because we've got Andre Santos as well. I have to keep remembering all these players that we have on our books. Right. Yeah. Austin Hamburgers made me laugh because they've put, where can I buy a green laser pointer for the match this weekend? They're selling. They're selling them at the Stat Drop Club this weekend. Exclusive deal, 50% off for all listeners. Check them out.
The DJ's got them behind the bar. You just need to ask and show your ID. You better show that you're over the age of, I don't know, 12. But if you're over the age of 12, you shouldn't be buying one anyway, because you should know better.
Alexander said, could we be seeing Mudryk's confidence finally growing? I think, yeah, maybe.
It's funny though, with Mudryk, because every time he plays at the moment, it feels like Maresca finds a new way to call him shit. Like, I don't know if you saw the thing.
Oh no, I haven't. What?
The interview afterwards with Maresca about Mudryk. He said, his mental development's a bit slower than the rest. Basically just calling him an idiot. He's had a man of the match performance, 2 assists and a goal, and Maresca's turned around and gone, he's a bit thick though.
Oh no. Oh, I've just seen it. Explains why slow learner Mykhailo Mudryk is starting to prove his worth. Oh my word!
He's called him. And that might be the only part of him that's slow. Unfortunately,
yeah. It says here we want the best for Misha. Since day one, we've tried to help him. Probably he's one of the guys that the learning process is more slow compared to the rest. Bloody hell, Enzo!
Basically called him an idiot.
Dear.
Right. Hopefully it won't affect him. Hopefully his confidence is enough to, at the moment to just brush that off.
Yeah. Right, we can't do Lone Army Carousel because there's only one person, so you instantly win. So we will go to Hazard.
We could do Carousel.
Oh, I bet you get an easy win. I can't have that.
I can't buy a win at the moment in Carousel, so
I will do Hazard's headliners because we all know the concept. We've got it. It's player in the news this week. I'll get clues. They get easier. So the first clue, you might win this. The player has played in England, Spain, France, and Italy. He has played in 13 Premier League seasons. He was on the books for a 14th. However, he didn't play a Premier League game that year. And he was not on the bench at all for a Premier League game.
Okay.
Third clue. At club level, he has played with Sebastian Larsson, Adama Traore, and Axel Disasi. Oh, what a coverage that is.
Yeah, that's not easy.
This might help you out. Fourth clue, he has won the World Cup and 2 European Championships. So that narrows it down.
It does. Probably, probably Spanish then, isn't he?
It's pretty guaranteed.
Yeah, okay.
Because Italy would have... No, they haven't won 2 European Championships in the time that those
And you said,
played.
which leagues did you say he was in again?
England, Spain, France, and Italy.
England, Spain, France, Italy. So really been around the place, but 13 seasons in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Spanish.
He's definitely Spanish. I'll let the fifth one, you'll get it straight away. You'll get it straight away. He signed for Chelsea from Barcelona.
Wait. Is it Pedro?
No.
No.
That's a good chat, though.
Yeah, because he's played in Italy.
13 Premier League seasons, Pedro.
I don't know.
No way.
Spanish players signed for Chelsea.
From Barcelona.
Oh, Jesus.
Sebastian Larsson, he played with at Arsenal. Adama Traore, Barcelona. Axel Disasi, Monaco.
It's Cesc Fabregas.
Cesc Fabregas, because it has been 20 years since he famously threw a pizza at Sir Alex Ferguson. Domino.
Oh dear!
Yes.
It's legendary Premier League. It's Premier League heritage, isn't it?
Proper Barclays throwing pizza. Listeners, we're at the end of another episode. Thank you, as always, for listening to this episode. Treat yourself well. You should. Always important. We always say at the end of every show because it's important. Take that walk, like Ollie said. Always good. I love a good walk.
If you are going to take that walk, don't go to the shop and buy a green laser pointer. Don't do it.
No, please don't do that. No. We will check this Monday. We will check when we return. We will. But till Monday, when we will be checking up if those laser pointers have been ordered, we'll be back with our winners and losers from Chelsea and Newcastle. So till next time, that is going to be us signing off.
You've been listening to At The Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram by searching for At The Bridge Pod. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, leaving us a review is always appreciated.